Good morning, goat lovers. Derek here with Blue Cactus Dairy Goats, and welcome to wet southern Arizona. It rained all night, got like 1.25 inches. Big guy is no longer clean, he's a muddy mess. Ain't that right, big guy? Morning, big guy. Morning. I got back, like they were all milking, so it was like 8:30 p.m. I got back. It's been like, I left Monday on this last run. Like I said, got back last night. It rained all night long. All the goats are mad about it. Ain't that right, Lodi? Lodi's mad about it. Good morning, Lily. And then we got in there, that's, who is that? That's Honey. And then right over there behind Lily is Pepper. Yeah, I know, girls, yeah. Wow, quite the gully washer. You can see all the rain washed all that mud down there. Of course, the feeder's all messed up, which is pretty typical. Good morning, Cassie. Cassie's the smartest goat we have. Hopefully she tells everybody I didn't do it. I'm not responsible for the rain. Good morning there, Bessie. Cammy. Good morning, Lit Eye. And this here's Tippy. Good morning, Abilene. And then creeping over there behind Abilene, trying to come in the A-frame, is old Maddie. Then we got Ray coming around the A-frame, and there's Grand Champion Mayo back there. Well, that's Maddie back there. Oh, that's May. That's Grand Champion May right there. And then up here we've got Daisy in the A-frame. Dink-a-dink. It's like Lacey's hiding behind Dinky there. And there's Ruger. Oh, then back there behind Daisy we got a couple of goats. I can't really see. One is Dreamer. Morning there, booger. These guys are all mad. Yeah, it's rain. They've never seen much of that. Look at this dude. Mr. Mayo. Man, he is just stunning. Me and him are going on a road trip in a few days. Parlor got a little wind-driven rain in there. But other than that, it's doing all right. I saw a couple people were asking that, you know, what are we going to do when it rains? Well, kind of the convenient thing about living in Arizona is it almost never, ever rains. So over the years when we haven't had anything to milk under, maybe 2 times, maybe more than that, but you could literally count on one hand the amount of times that we stood and milked in a sprinkle storm, if you will. It's almost a non-issue. It's nice to have something, you know, some shade over our heads anyway. Here's the dough pan, and it got some water in here. And of course the little doelings are not happy that the ground is wet. They have not experienced that. Yeah, I know. Morning, girls. And over here in Buckville, they're of course a muddy mess. They've broken everything in here this past week. Well, in the past couple of weeks really, they broke the ends off their A-frame, waiting for me to fix it. Everest is enjoying a good scratch on the old scratching tree. They have broke the tires off their wheelbarrow, and you're gonna want me to fix that, aren't you, Legend? Good morning, buddy. You want to stink up my GoPro? Well, I don't want to let you. Morning, champ. Morning, Veda. Good morning, Everest. Good morning, Luck Buck. Hopefully they're not missing Merle too much. Everybody's screaming at me because it's wet. It's still early. It's like 6:20 in the morning. Yeah, morning. You're gonna jump out of there, aren't you? Yeah, it's still early here. It's like 6:20 in the morning. It's just this rare, awesome cloud cover, cool day. It's like everybody kept my hay covered for me. Look at those wheelbarrows. We got that much water in there. And that just don't happen here, guys. That's awesome. It's like all my grain is nice and dry. That makes me happy. So I have 2 of my 3 big delivery trips completed. Last year, you guys know if you've been watching the channel that I filmed them all, and this year I have not been doing it. And the reason for that is I don't want to get behind on the editing. If I were doing that, it'd be a couple of weeks before you saw any of those videos. And we have other things in mind for the future. In the last video, we talked about taking Darren and Emily on a vacation, and we're going to do that, and I will film that. And it'll come out after the fact, you know, after I get home and have a chance to go through that footage. And that way Crystal can, you know, keep filming her adventures of milking the herd here by herself, and she can film and edit those and get those out to you guys in a timely manner. But on the first trip, Darren went with me. We went through New Mexico, the eastern side of Colorado, across Nebraska, back up to South Dakota, and then back down. I drove right by the entrance of Mount Rushmore and did not have the time to stop, which kind of bummed me out, but I'm just kind of thinking of it like reconnaissance. You know, one day we'll be able to return, you know, maybe even in a month or so, who knows. It's kind of a surprise. You'll have to wait and see. I did, however, get a glimpse out the corner of my eye as I was driving by a Crazy Horse monument. That was pretty cool. So on the second trip, I was planning on taking Emily with me, but it did not go as well sleeping in the truck with the 2 of us. There just wasn't as much room, and I really didn't get any sleep, and sleep is kind of important to driving. So I didn't take Emily with me on the second one because it was a bigger trip, and I really didn't want her to hate her first road trip, you know. So yeah, the second trip, I left and I went to New Mexico. I dropped goats in New Mexico, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, and then one that I dropped in Illinois went up to Wisconsin, and went up into Michigan, and then I was able to stop at my dad's house just like last year, and I got the 4 bucklings and the 1 doeling I had with me out, which worked all right, except for I put the bucklings in the pen, and doeling just kind of followed me around all day, which I don't mind. It's just if I had to go in the house for anything, she just stood outside and started screaming, which is kind of annoying, but you know, there you go, she'll have that. So I think you guys have already seen all the clips up to that point before I got to my dad's. And then after I left my dad's house, I headed down to Indianapolis, where I dropped off a goat with Gage again. All right, so we are now in Lebanon, Indiana, and we have returned to Gage here, who's a repeat customer. And today he's picking up Little Mac. This is a Maybelline Invader buckling. We'll miss you, buddy. Maybe I'll see you next year at the show. Hopefully. Right. Yes, hopefully. Then I headed down over the Ohio River, through Louisville. As I was getting close to Knoxville, Tennessee, it was Friday night, and there was just traffic everywhere, and it dawned on me that the whole world was heading to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, so that must be a really awesome area, because you could tell a lot of people wanted to go there. So right past the Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge area, I dropped a goat off in Dandridge, Tennessee. All right, so we are now in Dandridge, Tennessee. We're dropping off Wildy and Legends buckling. This is Sir William, and he's a Tennessean now, and he's going with Josh and Jessica. Right after that, I headed down to through western North Carolina, which is just beautiful. And you know, when you live out here in Arizona, you kind of don't expect mountains to impress you. You know, that might sound snotty or whatever, but it's just, you know, there's some big mountains here in Arizona. But anyways, western North Carolina and a little eastern Tennessee, there was some really impressive, beautiful green mountains. It was awesome. All of their rivers have water in them, which is something that Arizona does not have. So that was neat. Hope to return there one day. And I headed down into Georgia to an area called Commerce, where I dropped off another buckling. All right, guys, the sun has gone down. I've made it to Commerce, Georgia, and I am with Virginia and Thomas, and they have a Birdie Invader buckling, and they have named him Crazy Horse. And they're taking him home to Comer, Georgia, And he's gonna be a southern gentleman down here, aren't you, buddy?
We hope.
And then it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I had to make a decision on Atlanta. Like, I could have went to sleep right then, but then I would have had to drive through Atlanta traffic. It would have been Saturday morning, but I didn't want to mess with it anyway. I know, girls. I didn't want to mess with the Atlanta traffic either way, so I drove all the way that night to the other side of Atlanta somewhere, and it was 1:30 in the morning when I was texting the next folks, you know, that I'd see them in the morning, and I still had to make my bed and feed the animals, and then at like 6:30 in the morning, you know, people were talking to the goats. I had to just get up and just start moving. So I head down at I-85, I think, from Georgia, kind of diagonal across to Alabama, and linked up at I-10 just outside of Gulfport. It was really neat. There were just gigantic bridges for miles, and then it was really out there. You know, everybody, it's kind of funny, like no one ever talks about that area of the country. You know, it's always like, is it Florida hot or Arizona hot? You know, or like folks in the Midwest would be like, yeah, but we got the humidity. I don't know, there's probably nowhere hotter than southern Mississippi, you know, 105 degrees with, you know, 150% humidity. I mean, it was hot, it was sticky. But we made it through, we made it into Mississippi, where I dropped off my last doeling and buckling. All right, guys, I finally made it to my last drop-off point. I am in Mississippi somewhere. Moss Point, Mississippi, and I am with Jennifer, Alyssa, and Dave, and we are dropping off our last goats. This is a little Tippy buckling, and this is a little Dinky doeling, who's just a sweetheart. They're both sweethearts, really, and I think they're going to be happy down here in the heat and humidity.
Right. Yeah. Ready to go see your new goat family?
Yeah, all the mall girls you have at home.
And that's always an awesome moment when you're like goatless. You know, I felt like I did it, you know. When I left, I had 15 animals in the truck, and you feel like, man, if I got rear-ended or, you know, rolled this thing and killed all these animals, you know, I'd be screwed. I'd have to move back in with my parents or something, you know, to pay everybody back. And so anyway, we made it. It was great. And I just started headed home, and I made it to the other side of Houston somewhere, to where I was able to get, and it was like 9 o'clock at night in Houston. The sun had just gone down, and I laid in the truck all night, and I think I did finally get a good, I wouldn't say a good night of sleep, but I got some sleep. And so then I woke up somewhere in between Houston and San Antonio, and I just drove all the way home and got here at like 8:30 last night. It was quite the adventure, and I was just so tired last night. You know, I could see is the road in my face, you know, and I'm still a little jittery. So it felt good to get that done. It's 30 animals, 30 plus animals that have left, because some went to Tucson, and so things are a little quieter around here. They're not eating as much hay, which is good. And this time I do not need this box in the back of the truck. The amount of goats that we're taking will fit perfectly in this trailer. So I'm gonna take this box out, and I have a really neat little pop-up tent. You kind of throw it up in the air and it just sets itself up. And I'm gonna put it in the back of this thing, and I'll probably have to leave the tailgate down, but whatever. And I can sleep in the back of that, and Emily can have my bedroom. Oh, it's locked up, so can't see it right now, but Emily can sleep safely in the back of the truck, and I can sleep in the bed of the truck. So Emily is going to go with me on this next one, and we are going to go to Delta, Colorado, where I've been before, but it's a different person this time, and it was absolutely the most beautiful part of the country that I've ever been through. Like, I almost don't want to tell you, but the route will take me across Arizona through Navajo land, right by Four Corners. Last time I did this, I drove by Four Corners and it was closed because of, you know, COVID and everything. So this time maybe it'll be open, and maybe I'll go down there and get a picture of me and Emily standing in 4 states at the same time. And but anyway, then it goes into Colorado, through an area called Dolores Telluride, which is probably just beautiful. Hands down, one of the most beautiful places in the country that I've ever seen. So yeah, then we'll make it to Delta, drop off the goat, and probably make it to Grand Junction, or where it links up with I-70, and stay the night there. And then we head to Ogden, Utah, where we drop off a goat or two, and then we go all the way to just outside of Portland, where we're gonna drop off our last 2 goats, I believe, at a place called Bridge of the Gods on the Columbia River, and I am excited about that. You know, hopefully, I don't know if we're allowed to catch salmon or whatever, you know, probably won't have time anyway, but I know Mount Hood's in the distance. I know Wrangell Star's somewhere around there, you know. Not that I'll meet him or anything, but that'd be cool, wouldn't it? And yeah, so that's Emily's gonna get to go on this road trip, so she gets to see the Pacific Northwest, and from there, it's exactly 22 hours, and it's like a 10-minute difference to come back kind of the way we came, or to go down the I-5 all the way through California to here. So I don't know what I want to do there. Obviously California costs more money. You know, I don't know what gas is there, probably, you know, $80 a gallon or something ridiculous, but I know it's not 80, but it's like, it's going to be $7 or $8, I guess. And it'd be neat to go to redwood trees and stuff like that, but you know, I do just kind of want to get home. You know, if we just hurry back home, I'll be home just in time for the 4th of July, and that'd be nice. And then I got to finish the milk parlor and do a bunch of other stuff around the house here before me and Darren and Emily can head off and have some fun. I promised these kids that I would take them on vacation last October, and then life got in the way. We should be at Nationals right now, but you know, that didn't work out. We had a lot of plans for this summer that just didn't work out, but that's all we can do is just, you know, downsize the herd and try to get ourselves in a better position for next year where things can work out, hopefully, and that's what we're doing. But also Darren and Emily, they're, you know, my son's going to get his learner's permit this August, so like I've got to, you know, we got to do something with them, something epic, something awesome. Because those of you who have kids out there, you know, once they start driving, they start driving away. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. I had a cool song written about needing rain and stuff. Well, I didn't write it. I just changed all the words to that Walker Hayes' AA song. But I get home and it rained. So now it's, by the time I could film a video for it, it's kind of irrelevant, but maybe I'll still do it. I don't know. Let me know if you want me to still do it. Put it in the comments down below. If I get enough people, then maybe I will. But that's what's going on. It's a beautiful morning. I don't know if it's gonna rain today. It might. The kids and Crystal and I are gonna come out here and shore in just a little bit. And anyway, just wanted to say hello, guys. There will be some travel vlogs coming up. There's lots of cool things coming up, so we'll see you then. All right, bye.